Guys, there are spoilers for this film and this review, so if you don't want to end up digging holes, watch film, then come back. You have been warned.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ridley. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. Hey guys, and welcome back to an episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ridley, and this week we watched We Bury the Dead, a new zombie-esque survival drama starring Daisy Ridley. And I will say, this film is probably the most by-the-numbers generic zombie movie I've seen in a long time. And I mean that. It's like, this film probably would have been great if it was released 20 years ago, but it wasn't. And I just wasn't the greatest fan of it. But, for a little tangent, why I thought this film was really average. I'll tell you why and more back at the house.
Is it true what they're saying?
They're getting more hostile by the day.
Just a little further. Just a little further.
Just a little further.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Roman Time HD. And this week, we watched We Bury the Dead, this new zombie-ish survival drama thriller thing. I don't really know exactly how to describe it, but it is also starring Daisy Ridley and Brenton Thwaites, I believe is how you say it. And I'm just going to go right off the bat. I think this film was just really average. Alright, it wasn't horrible. It was competent. But it was just competent, right? And I think the problem with it was when I watch a movie, I want a movie to be a little more than just competent, right? Like, I want there to be like an edge to it, you know, something that I can sink my teeth into, pun intended. I think it's just, you know, it feels a little empty. You know, and I think the reason is because this is probably the most generic zombie film I've seen in the modern day. I think even some of the worst zombie films that have come out in the last few years have at least had something kind of somewhat interesting going on. Even if they're not good movies, they're trying to do something new. This one is just kind of by the numbers, right? So it kind of just does the overplayed tropes that you've seen in pretty much almost every zombie media. There's the zombie baby, which used to be unique, right? But it's not anymore. Okay, the zombie baby is not unique anymore. It was good in the Dawn of the Dead remake. It was good in 28 Years Later. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry to spoil it. But it's just not novel anymore. Okay, zombie baby, and it wasn't even technically a real zombie baby. It was a freak out. I don't know why I'm getting so worked up about it. It's not that big of a deal. Either way. I think my real issues with the film lie in the fact that it just doesn't meet its full potential. And I think that's because there are some interesting ideas there that they just, again, don't really flesh out. Like, obviously the whole idea of, oh, some of the zombies aren't actually, like, mindless. Some of them are a little smart. Now, that isn't new. Obviously, everything's been done in zombie media. It's like, you know, you can't really call out certain tropes because they've already been done. But I think what you need in a modern zombie film to at least be notable is to put a spin on something that's already been done and actually execute it properly. You know, I think that's really important when it comes to modern zombie films because we've seen it all already, so bringing something new to the table is nice, and that's why people like certain modern zombie movies 28 years later, especially, even though it's technically not a zombie movie, but it still is. Also, go watch my review of it, which I reviewed, by the way. And technically, this movie isn't really a zombie movie either, but it's the same thing. They're basically zombies. So essentially, it's not a virus. It's not like an infection. it's from this pulse that was from a missile, I believe. It was like some experiment that they launched near this island in Australia, and it wiped out the town, and it like caused like a, I think it was like a wave to go through their brain, like some kind of seismic wave to go through their brain that either killed them or reanimated them as, zombies, right? But it's not like they bite you and you turn into a zombie type thing. Not how it works. And also some of them are, so the whole idea that the film brings to the table is, what if them being a zombie isn't necessarily, because some of them just stay dead, some of them just died immediately. Other ones that were reanimated, the I guess it's not confirmed, but the theory that the movie brings is, what if they have unfinished business, kind of like a ghost, right? And once they finish their business, they die, right? Like a ghost. So they're not really zombies in the fact that even the ones that do attack people, it's just because they're reanimated corpses and they're just really angry about it, I guess. They're just really mad about still being alive in a unconventional sense. But again, that's an interesting concept, right? To have like the concept of a zombie be more of like a spiritual thing. I do kind of like that, but again, they don't really like go into depth with that. They just kind of mention it on a surface level and don't really, I mean, I guess maybe they could say it's open-ended, but I think you can only go so far with open-ended to the point where it's just lazy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to go like full in depth, like 2 pages full of exposition for why it is, but maybe give like a little more depth to make it intriguing. I'm not saying reveal everything, I'm just give it something, anything interesting, right? Because there is, as I said, that is an interesting concept, but it's not fully realized. And I think that's the whole problem with this movie, is that I just feel like it's hard to get invested in, because I don't really know. It's like nothing. I mean, I think Daisy Ridley, for one, did a great job in this movie. I think she's a great actress, so she did great. But I think it was hard for me to get invested in her trying to find her husband, because I'm not really given a direct reason to care. Like, from the beginning of the movie, she's already looking for him. Like, it's not even like we see like a short opening, like prologue with them having a good time or something to like then maybe cut to her trying to find him. Like, there's nothing to develop the relationship between these two. It's just immediately he's gone and she's trying to find him. And yeah, they do show flashbacks here and there, like sporadically throughout the movie, but again, it just doesn't land for me. And I don't even know really how to describe it. It's just a lot of this movie fell flat. Like, a lot of it felt kind of awkward. And it's not against the actors, it's against the writing, right? Because then there's this, like, because, in every zombie type movie like this, there's always, the crazy survivor that's obsessed with the zombies or something akin to that, right? There's always something similar. And there's this guy named, I forgot his name, but he, like, I don't remember his name. I forgot. He was like a military guy. So this guy was a military guy, right? And essentially he kind of went a little crazy, a little cuckoo crazy, after his wife was reanimated and she was going to have a child, right? So that drove him a little off the deep end. And then he started like keeping some zombies in his like barn to, I guess, run tests or experiments on them to see what would do, or like study them in some way to like see how they would react to certain stuff. And he was trying to figure it out, right? Trying to figure out what makes them tick, I suppose. But of course, he also tried to force Daisy Ridley's character into like role playing as his wife. And yeah, he was quite not all there. So she killed him and stole his car and then drove away. Right? But it is then another interesting idea is they kind of imply that he was correct in the fact that as I said earlier, the zombies aren't all mindless, right? There's something left in there, right? Sometimes. Other times they're just really aggressive and want to attack people. Again, they never really explain it, why some of them are smart and some of them aren't. It's just leave it up to interpretation, which I know I like, but it's not an excuse for being lazy, right? Either way, I just think in general, this movie has a lot of misses, and I think the whole time I was literally just watching it like, okay, this is we're gonna get a good thing here. Then it kept going, and I'm like, wow, this is really slow. Then it kept going. I'm like, man, this scene, like, sometimes there were a lot of scenes where I'm like, man, this scene is still going, huh? Like, this scene is going for, like, there are quite a number of scenes where they're, like, they go on a little too long. Like, the scene with the insane military guy, I feel like that scene's a little too long. And then, like, maybe not, it's a little nitpick, okay? Maybe not, whatever. I mean, I guess just to get my final thoughts in, like a final little recap, I think the film overall was well made, right? It looked pretty. You know, I'm not going to knock the cinematography. It was very well done. I just think the story was weak, you know, and it could have been way better. And that's mainly what I'm focusing on here. Not to knock the rest of the film. It was competently made, and that's what I said, but I think I want more than just competent. Either way, with that being said, would I recommend this movie? No. I mean, 28 years later, Bone Temple's coming out in, like, what, a couple months? So just wait to watch that one. Like, I guarantee it's going to be a better experience for a zombie-esque experience, right? I mean, if you enjoyed 28 Years Later, the original one, you kind of have to watch the first one to get anything out of Bone Temple. Either way, overall, no, I would not recommend this movie. Yeah, that's just the way it is. And with that being said, Ronan, what would you rate this film? That's what you might be asking. I don't care if you're not, I'm going to answer it anyway. I would rate this film a 5.5 out of 10. And, yeah. I think I've said to say. I think it's a piece. So, guys, I hope you like this video. Share it with friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below on how much you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say, if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike it, hit me in the comments. And I've been Ronan Time HD, off to retrieve some bodies.
So, I was watching this movie, right? And the whole time, I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, okay, so this is where the movie's gonna really kick into next gear, right? It's gonna really blow my socks off with these interesting ideas. And then just kept, going. I'm like, okay, well, we still have time. And then the movie was over, and I'm like, well, that was just a zombie movie that exists. What else can I say?